What's up, guys? So I have got maybe 3.5 quick tips here for hamstrings, specifically getting the most out of the seated leg curl. So if you normally can't tolerate my videos, this is the one for you because it is a short one. Before I get to the short one, do not forget to do the YouTube thing. Please like, subscribe, talk about some stuff down below. Even if you're just inviting your friends to have a conversation there, do it there as opposed to in DMs or text or whatever, because it will help me out. And we all want to see what you're talking about. But anyway, tip number one for getting the most out of the seated leg curl is use the thigh pad. Now again, somebody's going to say, well, what if mine doesn't have a thigh pad? There may be a decent seated leg curl with the shin pad, but for the most part, and from my experience, the thigh pad is vastly superior, just really for making sure that you're having a high level of output and don't have to stabilize a whole lot of other stuff. So when I say use the thigh pad, when your legs are extended, you're at the top of the rep before you start the concentric, before you even feel like you're curling, feel like you're pressing up into this pad. And if you are smashed hard into that pad, that will basically make sure that as soon as you contract your hamstrings, all the load that is coming through the roller from the stack will go right to your hams, and you don't have any loss of that tension, loss of that load, basically finding the thigh pad first and then going, or having anything else move. So again, the big advantage here is use the thigh pad, smash it down tight, and again, ideally have it so nothing is moving. As soon as you contract, thigh is already smashed in there and only the lower leg is going to move. Tip number two kind of ties into tip number 2.5, if I'm going to do getting technical here, but is pause at the end ranges. Now this could be said for a lot of exercises, but particularly here I see people messing up both end ranges of this exercise. One, the main benefits you get from this exercise over a lot of different hamstring things is it loads the hamstrings fully lengthened, and you don't have your back or your other hip muscles involved. Meaning, yes, an RDL is a great way to load the hamstrings fully lengthened, but again, you have to have your whole back stabilizing and managing the load, as well as your glutes, your adductors. Here is just hamstrings getting the load, and they're in the fully lengthened position. So I think it's important to train muscles through their full contractile range. If you don't actually own that start position, I see a lot of people on the way up kind of banging the stack and then going, or kind of going really fast and not actually creating much tension in their hamstrings before they contract. So pause at the top and pause at the end range. That is the other one that leads into tip number 2.5, is I see a lot of people launching. And so basically, maybe you're using some hamstrings to get it moving. You're using it through that first bit of knee flexion, but then literally you'll see people where if you see basically this happening, let's make this nice and light. When you come to the finish, it kind of does this bouncy thing. You can actually see some people hit the end and it bounces. And you actually see a lot of people, the roller actually comes off of your ankle. If the roller is off of your ankle, it should be common sense. You're not getting any load from it through to your hamstrings. And so again, on your warm-ups, I would say you don't have to go right to, if you've been swinging 200 pounds for a while and this chops you down to 100, maybe ease yourself into it with your warm-ups. So at least on your warm-up set, pause at the top, smash into that thigh pad, feel your hams initiating it, make sure you get a good hard contraction and hold to finish. And it's just a good gut check to, am I actually using my hamstrings? Which goes to tip number 2.5, is don't try and have explosive reps. Some people take the notion that hamstrings are predominantly fast twitch, which may or may not be true depending on the individual, and take that out of context and think you need explosive reps. Fast twitch muscles will work the hardest when you have the hardest intention of contraction. You're trying to contract hard, and when the load dictates it. If you're doing something on here that's around your 5-6 rep max, you don't have to worry about finding fast twitch muscle fibers. Trust me, they are working. And the thing that happens worse, again, if that roller is off of your ankle, you're not using your hamstring, so you're not using any twitch muscle fibers. You're literally using momentum. So again, yes, the good cue is contract as hard as you can, use an appropriate load that it's challenging, but don't think explosive. And again, some of that stuff, not to nerd too far, but when they've actually dug into looking at what ratios of fast twitch to slow twitch are there in different muscles, it's not as drastic of a difference that you would think. It's not like it's 90% fast twitch, 10% slow twitch, and some of it is still very individual dependent. Tip number 3 is use this pad, or if you're really in it for the long haul, get yourself in a seatbelt. So when you're coming into the finish of the motion, realize the pad goes from pressing this direction to pulling your whole body this direction. So it's very common for me to see people when they come to finish, their hips slide forward. If you don't have a seatbelt, sit in here and press your hands into here in the opposite direction that the roller is pulling you, so you don't slide forward, you push, so you're basically trying to get your hips pressed back into the pad. So push down here nice and low, keep the hips locked in. And like I said, if you're in it for the long haul, this is my gym that I train at, so we've got a seatbelt bolted on here. And someday, some equipment designing company will get smart and actually have a seatbelt attached to this when it comes to the gym, because I don't know why you would. The same companies that don't put a seatbelt on this we'll put a seatbelt on the shoulder press just in case your entire gym ever flips upside down and you fall out of it. So hopefully someday someone will catch on to that. So that is your 3.5 tips to have better hamstrings, get more out of your seated leg curl. If you found this helpful, give me some feedback below, share wherever you share things that you share. And until the next one, guys, train hard.